An Arctic blast has entered the United States with easily the coldest temperatures of the season. That deep purple here is easily 30 degrees below average temperatures, and that will likely expand into much of the lower 48. In fact, 95% will actually wake up with a freeze by Tuesday morning, but this will also be the culprit of setting up two significant winter storms. And one of those winter storms is actually going to be all the way down into the deep south. So if you are new to the channel and like detailed weather breakdowns, hit the subscribe button and you're in. You get all my daily content on this channel to bring you well ahead of the storm. So here's the setup this morning on the wind chills, and you're feeling it in a big way. In fact, you're checking in at 51 below zero, feels like in Minnesota. That is dangerously cold wind chills, folks. Frostbitten criteria, bone chilling cold. All those negative numbers in the deep purple extend all the way down into Colorado, getting into Kansas. We've got negative numbers entering portions of Oklahoma City. Yeah, those are single digits there in Texas, folks. You know it means business when it goes all the way down to the deep south. And that is just the initial plunge of the Arctic air. And it'll send pulses of that, say, that polar vortex, this polar lobe that will continue to funnel down fingers of Arctic air all the way down into the deep south. But we're also going to be concerned about a winter storm that's likely going to be brewing as well. So right now on the surface map, we're already seeing the beginning stages of that winter storm. We actually have some snow flying up here across portions of Indiana back into Ohio, as well as into areas of West Virginia. These are actually thunderstorms in the warmer air down there in Florida. In fact, some of those actually turned severe in areas of the panhandle of Florida. But that gives you a sign to things to come as we have a subtropical jet stream and as we have that Arctic air continue to plunge southbound. This is our first winter storm that will likely set up. And then we have a secondary winter storm that's going to be setting up for the deep south going into Monday night, Tuesday timeframe. So here they are, kind of break them down for you. Here is that first winter storm. We've got winter weather advisories there into the purple. We've got winter storm warnings there into the pink. We should be looking at pretty significant snows for areas of eastern, Kentucky, eastern areas of Tennessee, back into West Virginia, getting into northern areas of Virginia, as well as into Pennsylvania, getting into southeastern New York, getting into Long Island, areas of Massachusetts, Connecticut, Vermont, New Hampshire, back into Maine. And there is your secondary winter storm all the way down in the deep south. And this is a very significant event for areas that just don't see much snow at all. We're talking years, if not decades, down there in the deep south. So we've got, winter storm watches in place for areas of San Antonio, Austin, back into the Houston area, into Beaumont, Port Arthur. Lake Charles is under a winter storm watch. New Orleans, yeah, folks, getting into Mississippi, Gulfport, Mobile, Pensacola. Yeah, this is a rare event happening for the deep south, and that's likely to unfold beginning stages on Monday night. But before that, this is our first winter storm and heading into that noon time frame. So where you can read this map is obviously the blue is your snow, the darker blue is your heavier snow, your green is your light rain, and then once you get in the yellow, that's more moderate rain. The red is heavy rain. So right now they are dealing with some thunderstorms into this afternoon back into central Florida, as well as along the coast into the Carolinas. But once you pull into some of that colder air, then it's all snow there in eastern Kentucky, areas of Tennessee, back into Indiana, getting into Ohio, as well as into Pennsylvania. And then as we move into tonight, getting into the overnight time frame, that low pressure center will continue to traverse up the coast. I think this thunderstorm activity will be done back there in Florida, but all the heavier snows will likely unfold coming up the eastern seaboard for those areas into Pennsylvania, New Jersey, getting into New York City, back into Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island area, getting into back into Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and eventually extending all the way up into Maine. We do have another little snowstorm that's bringing some snow showers across the Intermountain West. They are getting some more snow in areas of Colorado. That will be dropping southeastward, but it will be running into some drier air as that Arctic air continues to plunge southbound. So heading into tonight, going into early Monday morning, that low pressure center will likely be off the East Coast by then, getting in some heavier snows up here into New England, right along the coast. So they should be picking up some pretty decent totals. We'll go over some of those snowfall totals here in a little bit. So let's talk about the snowfall totals. This is the latest update from the National Weather Service. We are expecting a couple of inches from that snow that's flying right now into Kentucky, areas of Tennessee, but a little higher amounts once you swing up into West Virginia, as well as into New York, getting into New Jersey. You can definitely see in this pink shaded area easily a 4 to 8 inch swath of heavy snow, and some of those could be some little isolated higher numbers. And then once you include those areas into New England, yeah, it just continues as it traverses up the coast. So easily 4 to 8 inches in that pink swath, with some isolated areas of some 10-inch totals between now and say Tuesday morning from that first snowstorm that will likely kick off is happening right now and intensifying. So as we go into that Monday night, Tuesday, we'll be looking at our second winter storm that's going to develop, as we'll have that, Arctic air continue to plunge southbound. And this red area is just extremely dry air, right? I mean, that's the thing about Arctic air, if not Siberian air, because technically this air mass actually came all the way from Siberia. It's a colder air mass, but also it's going to be an extremely dry air mass. So it's a fight. It's a battle zone in the upper levels of the atmosphere. This is bone dry air coming down the pike, and that's one of the reasons why you're getting so cold. And that's what's going to happen as this drops further south. This green right here with our secondary disturbance will push further north. So this is going to be a battle zone. So as it does, it's going to start to overturn the atmosphere further south. And then the system that's coming down from the Rockies will be fighting this drier air every step of the way. So some of the precipitation you're actually going to be seeing on radar is actually not going to be even reaching the surface, but some of it will further north, but most of it won't, because we have that Arctic high pressure in place. Just very rare, folks. By Tuesday morning, we're looking at a 1045 Arctic high pressure in Mexico, folks. That does not happen every day. Yeah, that only happens when you got that air masses coming from well north of the North Pole, and that's dropping it all the way down into the deep south, and that's going to set up the combination of our winter storm. So we got the southerly flow, right? The moist, more, air mass coming from the south. You've got the drier air mass coming from the north. So you've got snow showers. Some of this will be reaching the ground. Most of it won't. So as you get deeper, say into Texas, this is going to start drying up. So we should see at least some snow there in Oklahoma, but we're not looking for any significant amounts whatsoever, maybe a half inch or a dusting. But further south, we are going to be looking at some heavier amounts, as we'll have a little bit more moisture to work with, coming from the Gulf, right? So going into, say, Monday night, that's when we'll start to see the atmosphere overturn itself with some heavier snows. And that will likely unfold going into Tuesday morning, into Tuesday afternoon. Those heavier snows into Austin, back into San Antonio. We'll have that getting into Houston, Beaumont, Port Arthur, getting into Lake Charles. I think it really starts to get a little bit heavier once you swing into Lake Charles, and even to New Orleans, Baton Rouge. Those areas will likely get some snow. Into southern portions of Mississippi, back into Mobile, and eventually this will head into the panhandle of Florida. This is a rare event, folks. I mean, New Orleans is expecting snow. Not only are they expecting snow, they're expecting a couple of inches of snow. If that happens, that will be the most significant snows since 1895 in New Orleans. If Houston gets 3 inches of snow, it would be the most snow since February of 1960, folks. This is a very, very rare event for the Deep South, and this is what's unfolding coming ahead for Monday night and Tuesday. And that blue there, that is snow, folks, in Destin, Florida, and Pensacola, Florida. Yeah, that is heavier snows in here in the Panhandle, and also freezing rain will likely unfold in areas in northern, like say Tallahassee, concerning with probably some significant ice, even some 1/4 inch, possibly some 1/2 inch totals. Definitely the most ice accretion down up here into the areas of northern Florida. But look along the coast, folks. This is a coastal event. I mean, you really basically have to head to the beach to see snow. It's incredible. It's incredible to see the heaviest snows right along the coast. But that's exactly what's happening with this event heading into that Tuesday night time frame into the Carolinas. So let's talk about some of these snows. I mean, we could be looking at, I mean, there's areas that don't really see that much snow at all. They go many years with never seeing anything. So you get 1 inch of Austin, you got there are 2.6 inches in Houston. That is a significant event. They had a 1 inch event back in that February 2021 Arctic outbreak. If we get 3 inches, that would be the most snow in February of 1960 there in the Houston area. Conroe, 3.4 inches. Livingston, back into areas of, Beaumont, Port Arthur, 4.2 inches. That's insane, folks. That's Southeast Texas, folks. That is just incredible to see these amounts. Lake Charles, 5 inches of snow. That's just incredible to see that. And that just continues, right? It goes all the way into Louisiana. And this is where an area that would likely overperform. We're probably going to be getting some isolated 8-inch totals. Is definitely not out of the question, but you can see the swath. It's mainly along the coastal area. So you got the first initial storm up there into areas of the mid-Atlantic, getting into the Northeast. And then you got the second winter storm well southbound down there into Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, back into Alabama and the Florida Panhandle, and hugging up the coast of Georgia, the Carolinas, and eventually heading off into the Atlantic. So we'll break it down because we are expecting to warm up after this Arctic air kind of loses its grip. So we'll start to see some ridging start to build back out west as some warmer air tries to take over. And we might have another system trying to unfold, but it's going to fight dry air all step of the way. So once you get past this Arctic air mass, this Siberian type air mass, the air is just continuing to be on the dry side. So the thing about that Arctic air is dry air. It can be very cold, but also once the winds turned around, it can be very warm. So you can get a quick surge and a massive rebound in some temperatures, especially with that drier air in place. And by the weekend, yeah, we could be looking at above average temperatures. So no longer those 30, 35 degrees below average temperatures we're going to be dealing with for the next couple of days. This will likely quickly rebound to above average temperatures as we head into the weekend for a good part of the lower 48 going ahead. So guys, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video, definitely hit the subscribe button, and catch me next update. Why I protect you before and after the storm.